Hopefully everybody can see that just fine. And yeah, let's get going. So, hello everybody. Thank you so much for jumping in. We're going to be talking about lead today, specifically some notes from a call we just had with Lowe's, and a few things we just want to refresh and really just keep everybody mindful of moving forward. Topics we're going to cover today. Again, we're going to review the notes from Lowe's call very briefly, just to explain some things that we did talk about. Review some of our responsibilities just to make sure everybody's refreshed. Review the specifics of LRRP paperwork, as well as go over some steps to take in order to cover ourselves, make sure we're doing the right things, and then discuss what LRRP will kind of look like moving forward. So for starters, we're going to go over the Lowe's topics. Really, the process itself isn't changing. That thankfully is at least simple. It's still the same process it's always been. There is, however, going to be a lot more scrutiny from Lowe's and the EPA. That means a lot more eyes on lead-based projects, processes, as well as field visits. So we're going to expect to see more faces out and about, more conversations as we move forward. We've just really got to make sure we understand that this is getting heavy again. For those of you who've been around long enough, you know when lead kind of first popped up, how crazy it was. It's kind of back to that, I think, to a point. We just got to make sure again we're aware that it's serious. As far as visibility has changed, um, homeowners will now be getting visibility to the checklists that we fill out and send into Lowe's. So when you look, if you guys think about the paperwork we send in, we check off the areas that we've contained, how we've contained, what we've contained, the steps we've taken, cleaning protocols. They're going to be getting copies of all of that. So it's very, very important, and we'll cover that a little bit more detail in a minute, that we are accurate and consistent with what we are doing. Also, discrepancy investigation is something that was brought up. If a homeowner is given that paperwork and they identify or they note a discrepancy, something that we say we did, but they feel we did not do it, there is the possibility that a third party company will be sent out to investigate, to review, and then provide that report back to Lowe's. As far as steps taken after that, should a discrepancy be found, that's something that I'm sure we'll learn about more. But the usual fines, and up to and including conversations around removal. None of us want to get to that point. The key is we want to never get there. More than anything, it's good to be aware of the worst case scenario, but the goal with this call is to get everybody refreshed, aware, focused, so that way we don't get to that point. Little sidebar. You guys may be used to seeing folks in the red vest. Maybe not this guy. This guy, you probably won't see him very much. But this is a good one from one of our in-house teams. You can kind of see we got a lead visit from an FPM, and you can see down below some of the containment that he took. He's got his respirator on. He's got his Tyvek suit. He's ready to go. He's suited. He's booted. You can see in the back. You can see all the documentation put up. We got to make sure that we're doing all those things. We know it's not fun. It's not exciting, especially in this weather. Pretty much anywhere in the region, it doesn't matter where you are. It's hotter than hell. It's not fun, but it's the right thing to do for many reasons: compliance, safety, health, the whole nine. So let's make sure when we go into a job, we want to see this kind of stuff. Okay. So talking about some responsibilities. This is all probably old hat to you guys, but it bears repeating just to make sure everybody's on the same page. We have to ensure certified individuals are assessing, and we are erring on the side of caution. That is something that has come up, I think, over and over in the past. If it's borderline or you're not sure, the best bet is to probably just contain. Don't leave any wiggle room, don't leave any gray areas, and make sure we have properly certified individuals assessing. We can't have somebody out there running a detail if they're not certified, and then have that information come back, and then we make that assessment. It has to be somebody on site. We don't want to get caught with our pants down with this one, folks. We've got to make sure that you are a certified individual on site performing said assessment, and that carries all the way through to the project. Okay. Make sure we're utilizing the right to renovate. info, providing that to the customers and retaining the signed copies. The best bet in that case is we want to make sure we have uploaded documentation that it was signed, and let's upload that into CIO, please. It's important that we have that documentation. There are options, of course, if there's no physical person on site, if we have to mail them a copy or email them a copy, we just need to make sure we have some proof that they were provided that right to renovate brochure. Okay. For those of you who, if you don't have it, we can send that out. You can actually get that from the EPA website. The updated 2026 handbook from the EPA for lead renovation does have those links. You can print it out yourself. You don't have to order specific anything, nothing special. You can do any type of way you want. They have color, they have black and white, they have portrait versions, letter versions, however you want. And it contains the same information, just different layouts. One's 10 pages, one's 20 pages. But we have to make sure that we have those available. Ideally, we hand those to the homeowners. We have them sign them. We retain the signed copy, and we upload that into Cilio. Okay. If you have any questions on any of that, please, installers, get with your territory operations manager, and we'll clarify that for you. But this is going to be extremely important. If the EPA comes around and wants to do any audits, if they want to ask any questions about, hey, did we have these conversations? That is our proof that we had that conversation, and or again, if the homeowner's not on site, that we provided them with the documentation and gave them what was required. Okay. Same thing again, ensure there's an LRRP certified crew member on site during the containment disposal phase. Again, I know it sounds redundant. It should be a given, but it's not the first time, that we had that come up in the past, and it's going to happen again in the future, I'm sure. We just have to be mindful. It can't happen. So if you do not have an LRRP certified crew member on site for that demo and disposal phase for containment, then you need to schedule accordingly. Okay. Make sure there's at least one individual. And as a side note, if you're doing any training to non-certified personnel, make sure you document that accordingly on the paperwork, but also don't fill it out if you're not. That's come up a few times, I feel like, in the last 6 months or so, on a few random LRP corrections from Lowe's, where we're filling out certain things that we aren't doing just to check boxes. We got to be very mindful of how we're filling out that paperwork. Making sure that you use appropriate equipment and take necessary steps. So posting proper signage, cordon off areas as needed, follow necessary containment steps as required for the situation. One thing that will really get us caught up is if you're on the side of a house, for instance, and you don't have that physical area to step back, then you have to go vertical. You have to assess each opening on what the requirements are, whether it's the 6 square feet interior, right, or the 20 square feet exterior, or the 10 square feet, and contain accordingly. That's floor vents, doors, windows, floor coverings, furniture, you name it. Anything that's in that immediate vicinity has to be covered, and you have to be mindful of what you're doing. So if you're doing a simple door demo, or if you're grinding out plaster, right, you have to take proper steps. So plastic, zip walls, suits, respirators, the whole nine. Be mindful of your project. You know what that is going to require. Take the necessary steps, please. Cleaning verification. We've got to make sure we're performing the cleaning verification consistently and document the steps taken. This actually came up recently with a customer prior to this call, thankfully, where they made a comment that, hey, I didn't see them do this. Now, just because they didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, of course, but that's where we really have to make sure we're documenting things properly and following the process, as well as explaining it to the customers so they're aware of what we're doing. Think of it as just a nice little CYA for us to make sure the customers are aware of what we're doing, because again, they're going to get that paperwork, guys. If they don't know what we're doing, they may not equate it to what they see on that piece of paperwork. Lastly, fill out documentation correctly and in a timely fashion, whether it's a detail or a project. We've got to make sure that we have the lead response recorded properly on the assessment, and we have to make sure we fill out any containment protocols should they be required when that project is done. And we want to make sure we get that uploaded promptly and correctly. So take your time to make sure it's done correctly. Don't just sit there at the end of the day and whip it and check boxes, because I know that's something that some folks do, and that's may have been acceptable once upon a time, but with the increased scrutiny, we have to make sure we are documenting it correctly, and let's try and get that done timely, especially on assessments. Keep in mind when that LRRP activity isn't completed, Lowe's does not see that completed detail. So it's just another step that we really got to make sure we're hitting front to back as quickly as humanly possible. Spend a little more time on paperwork, just because it's probably one of the most important pieces that really is going to catch us in some of this. The renovate right form is to be provided to customers, signed and kept on file. Again, I know I said it, but I want to make sure to reiterate to everybody. Let's please make sure we're printing out those those renovate right forms, and let's make sure we're hanging on to those copies. Okay, upload them in Acilio just like we would any pictures. It's perfectly fine. Just make sure it's clear and it's legible. If you need assistance with something or you're not sure how to do that, feel free to get with your territory operations manager, and one of us will walk you through it. Lowe's lead documents, document the steps taken to contain. Again, don't just check boxes, please. Don't just check them so they pass compliance so that way nobody says anything or doesn't get kicked back. Think about what you need to do for that job, contain accordingly, and document it. Because when that customer gets that paper, if we just check every single box and they start saying, well, wait a minute, they didn't cover vents. I don't have floor vents. Why would they check a box that they covered floor vents when I don't even have them? Think about it like that. Don't let yourself get caught just checking a box and whipping paperwork, because then those discrepancies are what's going to get flagged. Those customers come back to Lowe's and say, hey, wait a minute, we're going to get that third party out there, and maybe we didn't do anything wrong, right? But from a compliance standpoint, we did. We filled out the paperwork incorrectly. That's a part of the LRRP process, is correctly filling out that paperwork. So please, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but the paperwork is going to be very, very crucial.